Hello everyone, welcome to the first video in our series on kind of an introduction to disc golf collecting. If you're an experienced avid collector, you could watch these videos, maybe you'll pick up a tip or trick, or maybe you're just here to help the community in the comments. But really these videos are here to help those people. Maybe you got into disc golf during that big influx of players during COVID, and now a couple seasons in, you've got some favorite players, you've got some favorite discs, and you're ready to dive into the world of collecting. These are just a couple of videos that we're going to put out to help you get into a bit of understanding the nitty-gritty of how to collect, what to collect, Facebook groups, shipping, etc., to help you along that path. Of course, go check out our website, discgolfgradingauthority.com, send in some discs to be graded, and, check out our podcast to learn more about our grading service. But today, we're going to start out talking about shipping discs. Let's say you want to send us a disc, like this first run Hades, okay? It's not in the best of condition, it's a thrower, but it's pretty. Maybe you want to get it graded, maybe you've got something way more valuable to get graded, and you want to know what precaution and what type of shipping you should use. Or maybe not for grading, maybe even for selling. And we'll talk about the different shipping options and some of their price points, the pros and cons as we go on. So, you've got a disc. This is not an intro to disc golf video, so I'm going to assume that you already know there are lots of different kinds of discs, maybe two of the extremes here. If I grab this old ESP Rattler, okay, this is a deep dish pizza of a disc, a really almost catch style disc, a lot of fun, right? Or kind of an in-between. I've got here on the side a Zone, an old ESP Zone, right? It's going to have a thick rim, but not quite as thick as the Rattler. All right, so as we're talking about shipping, we're going to discuss a little bit that has to do with the disc types. And so these are the three examples that I'll use: the Hades, the Zone, and the Rattler. They all happen to be from Discraft today, but obviously every brand has kind of this general range of rim thicknesses, which is something to consider. Disc diameters don't change very much, so we won't really cover that. All discs are about 8.5 inches in diameter. There's really only plus or minus 0.1, maybe 0.15 inches to get you here or there. So, to start it out, let's start with the cheap and go up. Let's say you have a disc that's not a collector's disc. Let's say it's a thrower and you're on a Facebook group and you're shipping it to someone. You might see people talk about bag shipped. This is the kind of bag they're talking about. It's also referred to as a bubble mailer. That's because it's literally made out of bubble wrap. Let me see if I can get this. There we go. So both ends of the pouch are made of bubble wrap. It's got its own little self-adhesive. You can buy them in like 10 packs at Walmart. I'm sure you can get them even better deals online. They're really quite simple, and they come in nice sizes. So I was just telling you about how most discs are about 8.5 inches. This is an 8.5 inch envelope. So you'll notice if we take a thin rimmed disc, it fits in here real nice and easy. Boom. Right? And then you can rip that tape off, stick it down, and you've got a shippable disc. It'll ship for like $5 and some change USPS. The envelope itself is cents on the dollar. It's almost transparent. You can still see the stamp through there. Offers little to no protection, but if you're shipping thrown used discs online, this is an option. It's a pretty frequent option. I will warn you before you go and buy out a bunch of these, obviously the protection of the disc isn't great, but also because the size is real tight, you'll see the Zone is about the largest disc that this can fit comfortably. If we try to stick the Rattler in there, it starts to stretch that package a lot. It no longer sits flat. So, there's some things to consider when you're looking at the bubble mailer. One of the really common combinations you'll see, and a great improvement to the bubble mailer, is a cardboard-backed bubble mailer. Okay, so you'll see this all over the Facebook groups. You'll take a piece of cardboard that's about the same size of your disc. I've cut one out here. This piece of cardboard is actually a little thinner than what I would normally use, but for illustrations purposes, it'll work just fine. You cut out a piece of cardboard about the size of your disc, right? You'll slip it into your pouch, and then you'll put your disc in your pouch. And now there's something else to help prevent the bend of the disc. This will help protect your disc. It doesn't change the shipping cost. It doesn't change really the ease of shipping. And so it's a great way to extend the pros of bubble mailers without really digging into the cons. So if you're going to be a bubble mailer shipper, put a cardboard backing in there. Costs you nothing. Benefits everyone. Right? All right. So the upgrade from the bubble mailer is the cardboard box. Right? If you have purchased discs new online and not just from like a disc golf store, you'll probably gotten your discs just like this. This is a box from Discraft. I've got one here from Discmania. I know Vibram also ships their discs in the same way. I've got a box on the side from them. But the discs will come to you just like this, like a pizza. It's just sitting in the box, no real protection. The box are nicely sized. Okay, they are like 9" by 9" by 2 inches, typically 1.5 inches. This is a thin one. So it does keep your shipping cost reasonable if you're the shipper. But obviously, stamp protection, scratching, and scuffing can definitely occur here. It will protect you from bending, which is a big pro over the bubble mailer. But when we're talking about collector's discs, this is not the way to ship. You'll scratch up your stamp, you'll scuff up your disc. Cardboard is not the most luxurious of velvets, okay? And so if you're dealing with a disc that has a pretty significant value, what's significant to you might be different than what's significant to me, but personally, if I'm shipping a disc that, well, if it's not a thrower, I'm not going to stick it in a bubble mailer. And if it's not in a bubble mailer, I'm not going to stick it purely in a box. So let's talk about the options because they're pretty cheap. Just like the bubble mailer, there are a few simple things you can do to upgrade your shipping game from a box. Okay, obviously the boxes handle the rim width a lot better. One of those options is bags. So let me show you 3 different bag options off my shelf here. So especially from disc golf companies and resellers, you'll get these open style bags where it's just a sleeve. This will help protect the stamp and the flight plate from being scuffed. You can get kind of what I'll consider the intermediary here, which is just a gallon-sized Ziploc. This will work just fine. All right? It'll keep your stamp nice. Or if you're a bit more legit, you can get some of these, like, you buy them by the thickness bags. So you can get heavier bags. You can see it's more opaque than the gallon-sized Ziploc, and that's because the plastic here is actually a little bit thicker, and so you can go up and buy these discs bags that will help protect their stamps in a box. So this will help protect against light scratching and scuffing as the box just bounces around with the disc inside. If you were shipping something a bit more valuable, so if I was actually shipping this 2018, every DDGA disc, doesn't matter the value, if you ship it to us, we will ship it back with this last and most secure option. And that is a cardboard box, bagged disc, and a bubble wrap surrounding. Okay, so this is actually a package that was sent to me when I purchased like $300 worth of 4-Claws from a gentleman, all right? And so you've got a nice 9x9x2. Here's some extra bags that I'm just storing. But then bubble wrap coated inside of a box. Nice do not bend stickers on here for those helpful mail workers. And so this will protect your disc the best it can be, right? The correct size box will help it bounce around less in the mail. The bag will help avoid scuffing. The bubble wrap will help prevent it bouncing even more and prevent any scuffing or edge damage that could occur. And then obviously the do not bend stickers are just there as an added precaution to help our mail workers maybe give a bit of extra care when they're shipping their discs. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to reach out to someone in a Facebook group about shipping options. Check those Facebook selling and collecting rules pages. They've usually got information on what shipping is appropriate for that style of page. And you could even reach out to the buyer. If you're selling discs, you could say, hey, I'm going to ship it to you like this. Is that acceptable? And they might even pay you a little bit more. I know I would if I'm getting a nice disc for you to send it in what is typically called bomb-proof packaging on Facebook groups. Okay? For DDGA, all intents and purposes, your discs will always come back to you in this style of packaging. Please ship them to us like this. Nothing would make me more heartbroken than to have you ship a disc that you are pretty sure is a 10, and when it shows up to us, it's an 8. And when you get it back, it's an 8. So please make sure you do a great job of packaging your discs. If you're new to collecting, I hope this has been a helpful little rundown. I'm going to try to keep these videos short. If you want a bit more long form, just information on disc golf collecting, join us on the weekends for the Collectors Corners podcast, where we'll be talking about the current market, disc prices, fluctuations, and all that. You check out our past episodes over here. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe.